Thank you. Good morning, everyone. That was fascinating. I have to say, the excitement and the energy that I have felt in the sessions that I have been in, and all the insights I have heard from those of you that have visited us at our booth and just had a chance to talk with, there is so much anticipation for real-time rails or real-time payments. And I'm so glad that was the key topic that was just discussed. That was one of my big takeaways. If I think about my second biggest takeaway from this last few days, I was very, very amazed and happy to hear the focus on client centricity, or in other words, customer centricity. So thinking about us as customers of the banks, thinking of our customers. It's very, very important that we're thinking about not only what do customers want, but what do they need? And what can we do to help them? So that's been a very big theme for me. Last but not least, and similar to that, is how do we help with fraud mitigation? How do we help with fraud prevention? And we just got a great announcement that was given to us. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk you through some global trends that we've seen, and some topics that maybe we've talked a little bit less about that I think will help Canada get ready for this great journey that we're about to embark on over the next year or two. I'll also then talk to you about, based on that, how is Canada innovating? And last but not least, what can you do to get started? And to start to put some tactical thinking and some ideas, many of which I think you might already be doing. So with that, let's get into it. So this is a quote that my team and I were talking about, and it just came to us, and we said, what's most important when we think about the movement of money and the movement of money in Canada? So in a world that's moving faster than ever before, the ability to make payments in real time, it's not a luxury anymore. It's a necessity. And in fact, you will see around the globe, real-time payments are happening faster than you can think, in seconds, and there are hundreds and thousands of transactions that are happening. And I'll walk you through some of the companies that are leading this path. So real-time payments. I think the numbers speak for themselves. A lot of people are using real-time payments. And in a study that we did with FICO, over 14 countries, 90% of people have used real-time payments. But they've not just used it once. Here's my question for you. How many of you have used your digital wallet to purchase anything online? Apple Pay. I've definitely done a lot of purchases for my kids for their Fortnite and Roblox accounts that were on digital. But it's really fascinating just how much our economy is moving towards digital payments. And I'll talk more about that today as well. The good news for Canada is the people that use real-time payments across the globe, they want to continue to use them. Something for you to think about is that comes with expectations from our customers. Now on global trends. So I know there's a lot on the page here, but what I want to call out for you is the way that we think about overall payments and the movement of money is in two simple ways. You have your card-based payments, which are huge in Canada, and then you have your account-based payments. The guiding factors that are driving some of these trends that we are seeing across the globe are, like I said, the expectations of clients. The regulators, many of you sitting in this room, I've talked to a few of you talking about different policies that are coming out. Your job is to keep things safe and secure for Canadians. So as a result, the regulators are raising the bar. Technology innovation is all around us. It's around, when you look at payments, it's around everywhere. But it's how do we then capitalize that innovation? And the constant need for growth, I think, is for all of us, particularly those of you with businesses where you are trying to grow and you are trying to grow exponentially and trying to get ahead of that curve. So with that being said, one of the things that I think I heard a little bit less about, but we are hearing a lot more about globally, is about ISO. So you think of it as financial messaging. It's actually a lot more than that. So from some of the studies that we have done and individuals that we have talked to, what we're finding is with all of this rich data, it presents itself with this huge opportunity to leverage that data not only for the safety and security of the movement of the money, but also it gives you insight into customer preferences. It gives you insight that you can use to make changes to products and services, or even develop new products for your customers. BNPL, buy now, pay later. We have less of it in Canada today, but what we're seeing across the globe is a huge uptick. And the lesson to be learned is that this area is growing exponentially, and you will start to see a lot more of this within Canada. I heard a lot about cross-border payments in the sessions that I was in. Who's had to send a cross-border payment and not maybe had the best experience? I'll put my hand up. When we think about our customer expectations, around the globe, it's happening. Instant cross-border payments, those wires, it's happening. So that will be something that I think from where Canada goes next, this will be a big focus and something we're seeing across the globe. Last but not least, I'll leave you with open payments, or better yet, open banking. There's more presentations on that today. Open banking, the whole premise around open banking is that customers, and Canadians particularly said this, over 60% of Canadians have said they will only opt into open banking if it feels safe, if they feel that they can recover their funds if there's a loss, if they feel that their data is being shared in a safe and reliable way. So there's a lot of lessons we can learn from across the globe around how open payments is working. So with that, a few innovations in real-time payments. I think a lot of us know about Zelle. This is peer-to-peer in the US, but there's also FedNow, which is rapidly innovating. In addition, what I thought was really interesting here is our Canadian banking market is usually compared to Australia. A lot of similarities. We heard the word collaboration. Australia has done a fantastic job in bringing together banks and having them collaborate to help move money near real time. So a great lesson for us and what we can do to get started in Canada. Now, here's an example of UPI based in India, probably very near and dear to my heart. An amazing, amazing example of the power of real-time payments and the power of the opportunity that we as Canadians have to capitalize. And why do I say that? Yes, there's a lot of real-time payments going on in India. Actually, they're leading roughly half of all of the global real-time payments across the world. But this example is one that also helps to create financial inclusion. Super important, I think, for all of us. So UPI started in 2016. They got their big boost during COVID. Today, they have over 50 million merchants, and I think this number of 300 million is much higher now. They have a lot of users. Here we say 40% of all payments done in India are digital. I think this number is now even higher. So what does this tell us in Canada? In India, there were very few cashless payments when UPI came about. Difference with Canada is we actually have quite a bit of cashless payments going on today. So the fact that they were able to get to these staggering numbers and continue to innovate, they've gone international. You can use UPI at the Eiffel Tower now and beyond. It means that the opportunity for us and that uptick is going to be even larger. So I talked a little bit about the innovation trends. I look at this from a business and a technology perspective. One that we haven't talked a lot about is credit card use. The jury's out. Credit card use being high in Canada, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? It tells you that consumers are very interested and used to using their cards. So they will be looking for innovative products when it comes to payments. From a technology perspective, related to this, I asked you all who's used their digital wallet. This trend continues to grow. Contactless payments also continue to grow. So these are some great areas that you can focus on. Digital wallets are taking off in Canada. I think it's true. Personally, I will leave my house without my credit cards and I will have just my phone. It felt scary at first, but now I do it all the time. 29% have a digital or mobile wallet. I expect this number to exponentially increase. Businesses are realizing that they need to have the ability to provide contactless payments. That's huge. Also, what's huge is the size of that economy there, the size of the prize. Now, I promised I would give you some tactical ideas. I don't think this is rocket science. I don't think there is anything that's going to, make you fall off your chair on this page. But what I'll say is, there's a lot of these things that you're already doing. When it comes to technology modernization, I heard many of you are exploring your legacy systems. You're trying to explore what can you keep, what can be used to move faster. One of the bigger trends we're seeing is omni-channel. So starting to focus on your omni-channel strategy as you are modernizing your technology is super important. Take the example of a customer who's been a victim of fraud, maybe doesn't know yet. They want to be able to engage, you want to be able to engage with them to either prevent or help them during that fraud, whether it's in a branch, on site, whether it's online, or over a phone call. So focusing and continuing to focus on omni-channel, I think is huge. Risk management, also fraud mitigation. One of the biggest lessons we learned in this conference, or in this summit, was that education and awareness are key. So I think evolving security, you actually want to evolve your thinking to that. How do you educate and make your employees aware so that they know what to look for? You can do that by also using AI and fraud analytics to figure out where you need to zero in on. So expanding those programs is key. Industry collaboration. I was so pleased to hear individuals and representatives from so many of the different banks all saying they are with open arms wanting to work together. Collaborating also helps you to get to a point where you may have a consortium for data, which is huge, huge for open banking as well. And I won't keep harping on data, but I'll say, I'm sure many of you are focused on efforts to cleanse data. It's still important. So continuing to do this with a lens to payments is a recommendation. Last but not least, I'll call this process reimagination, process automation. Continuing to look at your processes end to end is important. Embedding digitization and automation, particularly in those tasks that require investigation, logging into multiple systems. There's a lot of tools out there now that can help you automate that so that your teams, your employees, can really engage with your customers and help to detect that fraud or help to make sure that those payments are really getting processed real time when it comes. There has never been a better time than now to reimagine your processes. There's a lot happening in payments. Your technology is changing. Processes are changing. Client expectations, consumer expectations, they're changing. It's never been a better time to look at those payment processes and reimagine them from the ground up. I challenge you all to do that. Last but not least, as we've heard, the future of payments, it's now. What is your next move going to be? Let's talk. Thank you.